Hey guys, so I know it's been a minute since my last post. I had to get my mind right, but I did want to update you guys on some of the things that I've worked on since my last post. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog cake I did for a kid's birthday. All homemade. I made a marshmallow fondant because regular fondant tastes like shit, and I hand cut out all of the decorations to go on it. I also did these Super Mario cakes. Family had 3 kids, all with birthdays in the same month, so we wanted to make sure everybody got their own cake. They were very happy with these, Super Mario themed. And I also did this one. It was kind of new for me. It was a 2 tier. They gave me creative freedom. I also hand cut out the designs for this one. Not my best work, but I was really proud of it. Here's our bottom tier, and here's our top tier. I used a Princess Tiana doll and I made a cake for the bottom half of her dress. She was really happy with it. That's what matters. I do feel like with more practice, it'll be better. Here's our finished product. Um, so today we're doing a peach cake, peach cupcakes. I actually had a dream about this recipe and I woke up and was like, let's do it. Why not? Fuck it. So I bought canned peaches. I did go to the farmer's market and they did not have any good fresh peaches. They were all mush. So I used a can. Not the best, but it worked. I drained the majority of the juice. I just left a little bit to make sure we got the consistency right on that puree. So we blend that up and then we put it to the side. Next step, we're going to start with our dry ingredients. So I start with cake flour. I use Swan's Down. Not sure about any other brands or anything. I haven't experimented with that. My mom's always used Swan Down and my grandmother. With flour, you don't want to overpack it. So I do a loose scoop and then I take my little spatula and shave off the excess from the top back into the bowl. And we're going to dump this cake flour directly into our sifter. Always, always, always sift your dry ingredients. You don't want a lumpy cake. The best way to avoid a lumpy cake, sift it. I did speed this up because I'm sure no one wants to watch me hand measure every little aspect of every little speck of flour. So sped that up, but cake flour, if you can't find it, you can substitute with all-purpose flour. You just take out 2 tablespoons for each cup. And yep, measuring up my last little bit of that cake flour. And then we're going to go in with some baking powder. I do use Clabber Girl. Don't really know if it makes a difference. That's just my brand of choice. You can use whatever you want. And then we sift until it's all done. Now we'll go to our next step. I did let the butter soften this time. And I got peach jello for the butter mix. They didn't have, I needed 3 ounces, a 3 ounce box, and all they had were these 0.3 ounce boxes, so I actually bought 10 of them. They only had sugar-free jello, which I was not happy about, but it worked out in the end. I don't know. I couldn't find, I went to 3 different stores and I couldn't find a regular jello mix anywhere, or a bigger box even. And I'm just opening these up and dumping them into a bowl just to make it easier for the next step because I'm not gonna open them one by one as I'm making the butter mix. So dumping all of those into the bowl, I broke up the little clumps in it, the lumps, and that just makes it easier for the next step. Now we'll go in with our butter that, as you can see, I took it out before I went to the store to get my ingredients, so it is soft. We don't have to beat the shit out of it this time. Scraping the butter off the paper with the little whisks, and I'll go into my sugar and that jello mix, and then we're just gonna beat it until it is soft and fluffy. Um, Beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it. No one wants to beat it. Okay, beating it until it's smooth. Make sure it's fully incorporated, and we scrape down the sides as needed. Look at that color. Oh my gosh, just that light peachy. It looks so good, just delicious. So scraping down my sides, beating it some more, light and fluffy. is keywords here. Now we do go in with our eggs one by one. As you can see, they're different colors. My best friend's mom owns some chickens. She raises chickens and always has an excess of eggs, so she's always telling me to get some. Now we start with our dry ingredients. You always start with dry, end with dry. 5 incorporations. Our wet ingredients for this are going to be just some milk and vanilla. Always add vanilla. I love vanilla. So I went in with my wet. Now we're going to go back with some more dry. Mix that until fully incorporated. You don't want to overmix your batter. Gonna go in with a little more wet after I scrape that down. That's the last of it. And then once that's mixed, the last of that dry mix. Again, you don't want to overbeat it, so just until it's fully incorporated. Now, once that has gotten fully incorporated, you're going to take your beater off and beat it on the side. Pour in the peach puree we put to the side. I don't use my mixer to incorporate this because you don't, again, want to over mix it. So you'll use a spatula to fold in that puree just until it gets mixed in really well with the cake batter already made. And I'm folding that up. Now I'll take my liners, and this is a 24 count cupcake pan. I only really use the gold liners. Now I will, if someone requests another color, like that's fine, but just for me making them for myself, I love the gold. I don't know what it is about them. It had a weird one in there that was just a big hard white one. I'm not sure what that was about, but I take my scoop. It's 3 tablespoons, which is exactly the measurements for that cupcake pan to make a full cupcake. And it makes your job a little easier. I still tend to make a little bit of a mess, but not nearly as bad as if I were doing it with like a spoon or just a 1 tablespoon. So here they are, all of our cupcake liners full, and I put those into the oven. I'm dicing up some peaches while we wait for the frosting. Just like with that strawberry cake, I do like to use fruit in the frosting. Since it's a fruity cake, I wanted to use some actual fruit in the frosting. So I diced that up really small, and I'm just putting those into the side into my measuring cup. I wanted to get about 2 cups of diced peaches, so that helps me keep count. I'm getting a little more specific with the way I was cutting it as time goes on, but there were so many peach halves to cut. I used the halves of peaches, and these did come from a can as well, Del Monte, but I used the halves because I thought it might be a little easier to dice than the slices themselves. So dicing those up just as small as possible. For future reference, I do wish I had cut it a little bit smaller, but this is, like I said, it was a dream I had, and it was my first attempt. Added some sugar in there, and then I just stirred it up so it kind of make a juice in itself. Then we'll get started with our filling, I'm sorry. So I did a cheesecake filling, vanilla bean cheesecake filling. I used Philadelphia cream cheese, Daisy sour cream, some sugar, some Mexican vanilla bean paste. It's a little hard to get that open. Doesn't take much, and I may have did a little too much, but I mean, you can't have too much vanilla. And then we go in with some lemon juice. Attach that beater, and then just beat the crap out of it until smooth. And again, scraping down the sides as needed. I just want to beat all of those little lumps in there. I did let the sour cream sit out for a little bit, but you don't want to leave it out too long. So I'm scraping down my sides. I want to make sure this gets nice and smooth. I did a little more vanilla because I just didn't feel like it was enough. And then I'm just going to take that cheesecake mixture. I went ahead and put it into a piping bag and scraped all of it out of my bowl. Shook it down, twisted up, and into the fridge it goes. Now, I immediately started on my frosting because, I mean, they're kind of the same ingredients. It doesn't make a difference. So we'll take some more Philadelphia cream cheese, some more sugar, more vanilla. I tried to be a little more mindful with my vanilla use there. And again, we're just beating it. This is just that cream cheese base for that frosting, for that fresh frosting. I did add a little vanilla extract on top of the vanilla bean paste because, like I said, you can never have too much vanilla, and I love it, but you don't have to use as much as I did. This is just all personal preference. I do not measure vanilla, I just pour it until it feels right. So, beating that up until it's smooth, and then I'm just taking it from the bowl and putting it into a bigger bowl because all of this is going to get folded in with our sliced peaches or diced peaches. I mixed those in real well. I ended up putting it back into the mixer because I just couldn't get it as smooth as I wanted it to be. Now, you see it looks kind of soupy, which is fine. That's kind of what you're going for because you are going to mix in that heavy cream. So, scraping all of that out, I paused to clean my bowl, and then I added in, just poured some heavy cream into the bowl, and I whipped it. Whipped it until it had stiff peaks, and you can kind of see it building the longer it whips, just on the highest speed. Once I got the desired consistency, I dumped it into the soupy cream cheese peach mixture, and then I just folded it together. So this was really hard to do with one hand, but I'm folding it together. Oh my gosh, this frosting tasted amazing. I absolutely loved it. I did not expect it to be as good as it was. And I did have a little leftover peach puree that I added to that. So now I'm just taking all of the middles out of my cake so I can fill it with that cream cheese filling that you saw me make earlier. My beautiful mom making an appearance in the back. And I'm just filling it with that cream cheese, cheesecake, no bake cheesecake mixture. And then we'll take those tops and put them right back on there. And that's the finished product. Not the best icing job, but look at that cross section. Oh my goodness. And yeah, there we go. Really light and fluffy. I actually took it to work and let my coworkers try it, and they said it kind of gave dreamsicle vibes, like a peachy dreamsicle vibe. So yeah, that is our finished product. Thank you for watching, and you can leave suggestions for my next videos in the comments. Thank you.